Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha. Sindhura Vigraham Trinayanam Manikya Shekharam Smitamukhim Apinamakshuruham Panibhyam Alipurna Ratna Chashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim Somyam Ratna Gadasta Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambikam. Welcome to all for this session on Lalitopakhyanam. In the previous chapter, we learnt about how even though Shiva stopped Sati from going to Daksha Yajna on account of not being invited, Sati still went to the Yajna being performed by her father Daksha Prajapati with the intention to convince her father regarding the greatness of Shiva and stop him from doing further adharma and fall into the problems. But in spite of all her convincing regarding the greatness of Shiva, regarding the auspiciousness of Shiva, at the end Daksha shouted at her, "Stop all eulogies because Shiva is my enemy. And if you don't go away from here, you will be further humiliated on account of the Lord whom you have married." Now, on listening to all these Shiva Ninda, where Daksha is continuously humiliating her husband and the Lord of the triple world, Sati Devi closed her ears again at these harsh and heart-rending words from her father. With closed eyes, she prayed for her father, knowing that evil fate awaited him. She could not think of going back to her lord after what had transpired because Shiva had already told her that it certainly will lead to the problem and not to go. But in spite of that, with her own mission, she came here, so she did not want to go back to her lord, especially as she had heard already been warned by him concerning the consequences of her infatuation, and she had come here against his will, against the will of Shankara, determined therefore to end her life then and there. She sat in lotus posture before all the congregation and made haste to kindle the inner fire of yoga. She called her beloved attendant damsels to her side and bade them convey the message of her casting off her present body and passing on to take up another new body in the Himalayas. She told them that it was not her father alone who was responsible for this act of hers. She related to them how Himavan, the lord of Himalayas, had once performed the austere tapas and how she had given him the boon that she would be born as his daughter. She would therefore be born to his spouse Mena, the spouse of Himavan, and grow up as Parvati to again marry her Lord Shiva in due course. She added, "Salute my Lord again and again on my behalf, and tell my husband that he was right in trying to dissuade me from my moha for my parents and relatives. Tell him that this body of mine is no more to be seen by him or any other, for it is of the same flesh and blood of the man who is now calling my Lord an inauspicious beggar. I shall burn this body here and now in the fire of yoga so that nothing may remain of it. As for you all, grieve not for me, for I shall soon be reborn as Himavan's daughter Parvati, and all of you shall join me there again as my handmaids." Having thus comforted her beloved attendants, Sati Devi half closed her eyes and kindling the yoga fire from her Muladhara Chakra, she caused it to envelop her entire body in a flash. The body was consumed instantaneously as though it were more volatile than camphor. The blinding flash, like unto 1,000 lightning sparks in one, left not even a grain of ash behind, a mass of transcendent light, bright as the sun, rose up from that spot and disappeared into the sky above. The congregation, beholding this marvel of marvels, were struck dumb with wonder and fear. Thus, after hearing the Shiva Ninda, the humiliation of Lord of the triple world, Shiva and Shankara, in front of her by her father, Sati Devi decided to give up the body which was given by the same Daksha Prajapati, because the body that was given by him is by a person who has developed enmity towards her Lord. So she decided to give up her body, but at the same time she consoled her servants, saying that she will going to be reborn as Parvati, and in that life she will again get reunited with all of them, and she do not want to continue her life living in the body that was given by Daksha Prajapati. And saying so, she kindled the fire from the Muladhara Chakra, where the Kundalini Shakti resides in a serpent form, and that Kundalini Shakti rose like a fire, and in that fire she was consumed and was burned. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puravasini Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehimi. Goodbye.